Hello everyone, my name is Ronak and you're watching VectoArt. So in today's video, we'll take a look on how to create a data template using Avalonia or in Avalonia. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. It means a lot. So in today's video, let's start first by creating a new project. And if you do not see these Avalonia templates, please check out my previous videos. I will leave in a link in the description and also you will see it on top over here. So let's start first by creating our MVVM app using Avalonia template and click on next. Let's give this project a name. Let's name it basic data template sample and click on next. Let's leave these default settings as is and click on create. And our project is loaded. So we have our default MVVM template ready and loaded. So if you go to the solution explorer, you have the assets where we have the Avalonia logo and it is also referenced in the app. And then we have the models which we will be creating soon, and then we have view models and which basically displays the welcome to Avalonia text, and then we have the view itself which is referencing the view model, and on top we have the model. So and also we have the data context and the binding, and the greetings is fetched from the view model. So first let's start by running this application just to rule out any errors, and I believe it should display this welcome to Avalonia message. Yes, so it is working fine. So let's close this and let's start by designing our data template. So first let's go to our models, and let's first start by creating a person model. So let's create a class and call it person. Let's change the access specifier to public, and we will have a few properties inside describing this person. So the few properties will be first name, which will be a string, and then next we'll have the last name, and then let's add an age, and it will be of type integer. And finally let's add the gender, which is of type sex, and this class we will be adding soon into the model folder. And finally we will override the toString property. The default data template will show whatever toString will provide. So so as a first idea, let's change what the toString will provide. So we will return the first name, last name, and age. And finally the sex or the gender. So that is done. So we have this error, so let's resolve it by adding the sex class. And here let's first change the class to public, and then let's add one property which is of type enumeration, and it will have the types or the gender types. So one first is the diverse, male and female. So let's save this, and let's add the let's add the next class, that is the student class, and let's rename it to change it to public. And let's add one more property which is an additional property, that is the grade, and this will inherit the persons class. So the grade will be an additional property apart from the properties that are defined in the persons class or the attributes. Let's add one more, and that is the teacher class, and this will also be public. This will also inherit the persons class, and this will have an additional property that would be the subject. And you have noticed that I have added the get and not the set but the init property. But this init is because it will only set this when it is instantiated. So let's go to our view model, and the first thing that we will do is use the model class, the models into this, and reference the models that we have created. And let's start by creating a list of type person, which is a class that we created under models, and call it people. And let's set the get method, and let's start instantiating or adding the values to these properties that we created. So let's first start by the teacher, and let's set the first name, last name, age, sex and subject property for the teacher class. And similarly we will set the properties of each class like student, and set their values, and these values will be instantiated when the class is instantiated. So we have a student, let's call it hello world, age 17, male, and let's change the grade to say 12. Let's copy this student and create one more student. So we have one teacher and two students, and let's close this. Let's save this, and let's go to our, so we have completed models, view models, and now let's go to our view, which is the main window.xaml. So let's include these models and view models views into this main page. This is already referencing the view models, but let's add the missing references here. Let's also add the compile time bindings to true. And set the data type to VM or the view model dot main window view model. Okay, we see an error. Okay, so we have a duplicate, so let's remove it because it is already defined on the top. Let's run the application to rule out any errors. So we have an error on line 21, so let's look at it. Okay, so since we have removed the view model binding for greetings, we have to remove that as well, and it is also not required. So let's start by creating a windows resources, and this resource will hold a data template. Let's create a key and then set the data type to model dot model colon person. Let's create a grid inside this and set the column definition to auto and also the row definition to auto. Next, let's create a text block and set the position to grid row of 0 and set the text to first name. So this will act as a label, and then next text block we add will hold the value. So let's copy this, paste it, set the grid row, set the grid column to 1, and text should not be hard coded, it should be bound to the data template. So it is bound to the first name from the view model. And next, let's create the same for the rest of the properties like last name, age and sex. So let's change it quickly. Okay, next let's add a data template for a student. Mind the order of the templates begin with the most specific first. So let's create a data template of data type model dot model colon student. And we'll create a stack panel and a text block inside that stack panel. Let's set the font weight to bold, and the text will be bound to the grade. So we have on the top data template, we have the basic properties of a person like first name, last name, age, sex, and this data template will hold the specific data for student and teacher. So let's create the data template for student first, and let's format the string to I am a student in the grade that we need. So the grade data that we fetch. and let's close this. Next, we will add a content control. This content control will basically fetch the data, basically the grade data that we have for in the student model and display it here. Let's set the content template to dynamic resource, and it will fetch the data from the persons. And then let's copy this and create another data template for the teacher, and this time the binding will be subject, and let's change the string format, and let's add quotes and the data in between. And this time we'll not use a content control, but we will use one more method to add the content, and that will be to add a user control. So we can add a new item under the views and name the view as person view and click on add. We will add the missing namespaces like model, views, and also let's add some of the other properties for the window or for the user control, and that will be the compile bindings and the data type. So in this case the data type will be model :person, and let's remove this welcome to Avalonia and add the same template that we have on the first data template. So let's copy and paste that, and our person view is ready as a user control, and we can use it wherever you need in your page. So here in this case we will use a view : person view, and that's it guys. Our code is ready. Let's run the application. We have an error, and I think I have mistyped the attribute content template. The T should be in uppercase, and let's run again, and this time it's successful. So hope you all liked watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, and like, share and subscribe to my channel. So we have all our data fetched from our model, view model, and displayed it on the view using this data template. Hope you all liked watching this video. Till then, bye bye.